Hey there guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Rebecca Austin, and on this channel we talk about all things Kajabi, marketing, and growing your online business. Now, last week we talked about creating your live webinars in Kajabi, and I showed you a little bit about the basics on setting up your Kajabi pipeline and the elements that goes into a live Kajabi webinar inside Kajabi. Now this week I want to dive a little bit deeper into the live Kajabi webinars and go a little more advanced for those of you who want to do your webinars with more than just the basic Zoom, because there's a lot of other different ways that you can do your webinars, and this one is one that I'm going to show you today that's just maybe a little bit more, what I like to say, advanced only from a technological standpoint. There's a few more steps involved, but it does have a lot more versatility as well on what you can do, because in this particular version we're going to talk more about using a live stream software, and then I'll also talk a little bit about being able to incorporate that through YouTube Live so that you can actually embed YouTube Live inside Kajabi on the video embed block that's in Kajabi. That way then your live webinar, instead of it being hosted elsewhere, I mean essentially it's still hosted elsewhere because you are going through YouTube Live in a streaming software, but at the same time it's actually being inside your website. So as far as things like your analytics and time spent on your site and keeping people on your site longer and making it easier for them to take action at the end, because we can then have a better design on some of the elements that we're putting into the page that we're embedding our YouTube live webinar onto. So that's where there's obviously some pros to doing it this way, in that we're not just sending them to an external source for our webinar and then trying to get them back to our site. You actually then are able to have it inside your site. So again, just kind of look at which is better for you as far as the technology aspect, the software that you would need, your capability, some of those kind of things that are involved with putting together a live stream and going through a live software like YouTube Live embedded in your site. So let's walk through just the basics of the technology and how that works, and essentially what I mean when I'm talking about putting that together for you. So let's jump on over to our pages. Okay, so when we jump into Kajabi, this is an example page just to kind of show you a little bit what I'm talking about on doing a presentation. Now this could be a webinar, but it also could be something like if you're doing a live presentation for your audience, maybe it's embedded not just in a page. We can do the same principles and the same rules, and you can actually use the video embed code and you can put it inside your product. So if you are trying to do some type of a live stream and you want to put it inside your product, technically you could do that by creating a live stream in YouTube Live, and then we embed the YouTube Live in our page or product. And in this case, this example here, of course, I created a banner up top, and then we did our embed code for the, so if we go into this custom section, we have a video embed block. And then I also have a custom code so that I can get the chat in here as well. And I'll walk you through that. There's a little bit more to adding the chat simply because it's not just a simple copy and paste code. There's a little bit of messing around that you have to do on your code, but not to be intimidating if you're not a coder. I'm not either. I just know enough to be dangerous, so to speak, but I know enough to be able to do what we need to do in Kajabi. Now the other thing that we can do then, of course, on this example page is that we can have other elements in here. So if this is your live webinar page, then we can actually add a block that is some of your call to action, and we can add the time delay. So if you know that your webinar presentation is about an hour long, And you know that about 50 minutes into the presentation is approximately when you're going to start your invitation for them to take action to take that next step with you. Then you can simply do a time delay on that section and have it show up 50 minutes into, so that as you're going through your presentation, now there's that invitation that pops up on the page. So it makes it much, much easier, instead of having to, a lot of times in your webinar applications, like if you're using Zoom or GoToWebinar or some of those, the call to action then has to be in the commenting, that you give them the link to your sales page in the comments. This just makes it easy for them because it's right there. So those are just a few things to for some ideas on ways that you can implement this. So let's jump into the actual, how do we make this happen? How do we set this up? So first of all, we're going to talk about the specifics of how to create it, and then the other, I'll walk you through just a little bit on live stream software and how that might be helpful a little bit on making your presentation a little more professional. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is, of course, we're going to create our page, and then we have whatever other elements that you want on that page. And then we're going to add, whichever block that you want to put this in, you're going to add our video embed for the actual live stream of the video. So that's the first step, is that you want to have a video embed. Now remember, of course, that we can make this look however we want to on the page. So you can have it larger, you can change your desktop layout and your mobile layout and all those really cool things like we can do otherwise on a page. But essentially, first thing we need to do is we need to create the embed code. We need to go into YouTube Live and we need to set up our live event. So what we'll do is we'll log into our YouTube, and then up here at the top we're going to go to our create new, and we're going to click on go live. And that essentially takes us immediately into the live studio in YouTube. Now yours may look a little bit different. Normally it would pop up immediately on whatever webcam. Of course, I'm using my webcam currently to record this video, so it's being used by another application. So it's going to pop up with this error, but obviously I'm not actually live streaming through YouTube right now, so that's okay. What we want to do is then click over here on stream, and we're going to create our new event. So it's kind of like we do in Kajabi, where we create an event and we've set the date and time and all the different settings. So I'm just going to title this live stream test example, just for the sake of this video. The next thing we want to do is we want to change this from public. We want to change it to unlisted. Now this is really important for embedding this into your pages, because we don't necessarily want it to just be for everybody to be able to see. We don't want it to be public. They need to be able to go specifically to the link or the embed in order to watch this. And we don't want it to be private, because private is where only you can view that. So we want it to be unlisted. And then below here, this is where I have some pre-settings that I've already set up in my YouTube channel, that it automatically puts this in the description. But if you have done this already, you can edit this. You can add your description below here, so it talks just a little bit about the content of the presentation, what you're going to talk about, any other hyperlinks where you want to send people to if need be. But in this case, this isn't as important, because most of the time then they're only going to see it through your page. They're not necessarily going to see it in YouTube, although you could have that as a backup link, so it doesn't hurt to still fill this out. Then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to schedule for later, because I don't want to go live right now. I want to set this up as a live stream for a specific date and time for either the webinar or the live presentation, or whatever time that you're going to be doing this. So then we would turn this to schedule for later. We set our date and time. So I'm just going to set one just arbitrarily for a date into the future. Put this at a certain time. I will just do it as 3 p.m. And then you can upload a custom thumbnail. If you don't put a thumbnail in here, it will default to whatever your banner heading image is. So it is definitely recommended to upload your custom thumbnail. And then just like anything else on YouTube, then we would set whether it's made for kids or if it's not made for kids. Typically you're going to say no because, you know, yes, it's made for kids. Even if you have kid-friendly content, it's not specifically only for kids. And then if you have age restrictions and stuff like that. So once you have all of this set up, then we do our create stream. And it takes just a minute for it to set everything up. And now we have all these different settings that are set up for us. Now the first thing we want to do then is we want to be able to get the embed code. So we go up here to this option up at the top where it says share, and we want to embed, and we're going to copy the embed code. And you see how I didn't add a custom thumbnail, so it used the image that I have for my banner image. Then I'll close this. We go back into our Kajabi page, and then we can actually go in here and paste our embed code into that block. And you can see now where it has it set up as live stream test example, has our title here. It has our banner image, everything set up in here for us. So that is the first step in setting up your embed in the page. Now, the next thing we want to do is set up our chat. So what we'll do is we're going to go back to our live streaming, and we're going to go to our live chat option over here where it says live chat, hit the three little buttons, and we're going to hit pop out chat. Because what we want to do is we need to get the actual URL link for this chat. So we're going to click pop out. And you'll notice here that we now have this URL for the chat itself. So we're going to copy this, and we go back to our Kajabi page, and then in this section we're going to do a custom code section. And I will put the code that you need in the description below this video. That way you have that actual code that you would need to be able to paste the chat box into your page. And essentially what it is it's your iframe code. We can adjust the height and width if you want to. But the key part that you're going to have here is we want to change this this URL for the actual URL of the chat. We're going to change this to whatever that URL is that we just pasted or copied from our pop out. And then the other thing that's really important is that there's this embed underscore domain equals, and then what you need to do is you need to add your domain name. But the key here is that it can't be your custom domain name. It needs to be the domain.mykajabi.com. So it's your root domain, the specific domain before you did your custom domain. And if you can't remember what that is, we can always go back into your settings and then site details, and your domain will be here. So you can actually go to subdomain here and just click copy, and then we can go back into our code and we're going to change it to this section right here, domain equals, and then you'll paste your subdomain here inside this code. Just make sure that you have it be whatever your domain.mykajabi and what that address is, and then we do our close iframe. So that is essentially the code that it would take to get the chat into your page. So it's pretty straightforward and it works really well. If you're using Ecamm, there's a few other things that you can do to be able to get that chat in there. Adrian Salisbury has a really great Ecamm tutorial. I'll put a link to that as well in the description with this video, where he walks through. Now, Ecamm is a live stream software, if you're not familiar, where it works really well on live streaming using Mac. I am a PC girl, so everything I do is PC, so the live streaming software that I use is vMix. There's a lot of other really good ones out there. There's things like Streamlabs, I think. There's just a bunch of them out there. So just kind of do your research as far as the different streaming software, And why would you need to use a streaming software? Well, because it gives you a lot more flexibility on what the client is seeing when they are watching your live stream presentation. And one thing to think about is that now, with the way that things are shifting so much in more and more people are doing live presentations, we're doing Zoom a lot more. But Zoom is great, and it's a really great way to be able to do a basic live stream. But if you use a live streaming software, you can actually live stream with your software through Zoom or through YouTube Live or through Facebook Live and some of those kind of things. But instead of it just being you in front of the camera just talking away, we can do some really cool things on the software. So for example, I have on my live stream software, I have an option to be able to have the lower thirds, like I just popped up here. So I just hit a button, the lower thirds where it puts my name and those kind of things. So we can easily just fade between different inputs. So you can have multiple cameras. You can have guest speakers that are also brought into the presentation, and that way you can control what the client sees or what the viewer is seeing. Whereas Zoom, most of the times what we have is you have everybody's windows and you only have the option between gallery view or speaker view. And if someone is not muted, it can be very disruptive to the presentation, so that it pulls away from the speaker view. If you're using PowerPoint slides, or if you're incorporating video or multiple cameras, any of those kind of elements into your presentation, by using a live stream software, it gives you much more control over what this looks like and that presentation in front of the viewer. And that's really, really valuable when you're doing a webinar, because remember, when we're doing webinars, the whole idea of a webinar is this is a lead generation tool. That the idea is we get traffic to your webinar, and then the webinar is a fantastic way to be able to very quickly turn a cold audience into a warmer audience, to convert them into paying customers. And the reason why webinars are super effective for that is because it gives you the opportunity to connect with your audience, to build your relevance and authority in your topic, and then really build value on what it is that you can do for them and the results and the transformation that they will get when they purchase and they continue their journey with you. So we want to make sure that that experience is as positive as possible, so that when they are on the webinar with you, that they do quickly know, like, and trust you. They see the relevance and authority that you have in the topic that you're talking about, that you're an engaging speaker, that they want to continue learning from you and working with you on a deeper level, so that it naturally transitions into a converting paying customer. Because really, otherwise, why are you doing a webinar? You're doing that specifically to get conversions and to drive traffic into your programs. And when we have live streaming software on things like this, we have that ability then to be able to really connect deeper and control on a better experience on what they're getting out of your presentation. So you can just kind of look at your specific audience, your niche, what resonates with them, what works best for them as far as what elements that you want to incorporate into your presentation. But this is one way that you can put it into Kajabi by embedding it into a page itself and still being able to do a live webinar or a live presentation either in your page or product. So that in a nutshell is using Kajabi for your live streams to embed in the page, a little more advanced version. Like I said, be sure to check out the description to be able to get the additional information that I mentioned, including the code for adding the chat into your Kajabi page, as well as a link to Adrian's video for the eCam. So that in a nutshell is the live streaming and how to embed that in Kajabi. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments below. And if you're interested in more information about how best to implement these things in Kajabi, marketing and building your online business, be sure to visit my website at striveforsavvy.com, where we have lots of really great resources and information. We do have our online Digital CEO Pro Academy that we are currently enrolling for, where we launch a new topic every month that dives deeper into marketing your online business, as well as a group coaching call to be able to support you in growing your business. So I look forward to working with you further, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.